so that we can continue. Good morning, everyone. We have assembled here today to listen to a lecture to be delivered by Professor FASINA. Professor FASINA is currently in Tanzania, but he works with a university in South Africa. Now he's a team leader for one of the United Nations agency, that is FAO. Professor FASINA had a BM degree from the University of Ibadan and later moved to South Africa for his PhD, MSc and PhD. Now he is a faculty in one of the universities there. In addition to having a PhD from South Africa, he also obtained a PhD from Utrecht, one of the universities in Europe. So this lecture is organized by Mentorship and Career Guidance in Nigeria to enable research challenges related to research. Earlier I have published an article feature science, where I highlighted the number of the scholars of African scholars funding, lack of adequate funding, laboratory space, chemicals, from outside the country, and so many. Here we assembled today from one of us, an established professor, and established scientist, and administrator who will discuss with us some of these challenges, coping with challenges of research. So I will invite FASINA to deliver his lecture. My name is Dr. Tijjani Salihu, speaking to you from the Department of Biochemistry, University of Nigeria. Please kindly continue with your presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Tijjani. I think you will have to share my screen now as the host, because I have no sharing right now. You may have to share the PowerPoint I sent to you.
I thought that you have already shared it. If that is the case, you will have to continue. I will make you back the host. So
let me see. Can you see the screen now?
Yes, but your PowerPoint is missing.
Yes. Because I don't have the right to share for now.
You can transfer. You can give you the host now.
So let me make you the host again.
Okay.
So you are now the host.
Oh, thank you.
But along the way, you should not forget to be adding other people as they keep on coming, sir.
No problem.
Okay, sir.
You can see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I was given the topic, or I was approached by Dr. Tijjani to present on this important topic. And as he had said, I've actually read his publication in Frontiers, and I've read quite a number of other publications related to research challenges in Africa and what we can do around it. And it's an interesting topic because this is what we continue to come, because we are still in the field of research. And it may not only be research, it can also apply to our everyday life. We know we have some challenges in Africa, but the challenges, we can also convert them to opportunities. If we know, I want to give you warm welcome from Tanzania. And I can tell you, I've worked across many places in Africa. I've worked in Egypt, worked in part of West Africa, worked in Southern Africa, and worked in a number of countries in East Africa. So I know and I've seen some of these challenges. So I'll go straight into the presentation. Africa has about 14% of the total world population, and most of the economies around Africa are growing. Indeed, the GDP in Africa are some of the highest in the world at the moment. There are countries in Africa that are growing close to 10%, 8%, 9%, and thereabout. So it's important to acknowledge this and to know that to know that we have these opportunities because we are growing very fast. But unfortunately, there is no correlation between these growths that are happening in most African countries and our contribution to scholarship and to peer review. Indeed, currently, just about 1% of the global research is done in Africa. You can imagine, we have 14% of the world population. We have quite a lot of the resources, but in terms of research contribution, we have just a little research contribution, less than 1%. And just about African researchers, we often complain of lack of opportunity. So that is why we will be discussing this today. I will keep on adding people or admitting people to the presentation, so you may hear some interruption from me. So basically, we will be considering these 5 questions or 5 issues. One, who is a researcher? I think we should start from there. One, a researcher is somebody who studies a subject, especially in order to discover new information or reach a new understanding. So it means that if you are working as a researcher, but all you do is to recirculate and recirculate the whole theories around you, and you are not adding any new value, you are not actually qualified to be called a researcher. You need to search yourself and check whether you're actually contributing anything new. A good researcher must be open-minded and must also adopt critical way of thinking. For example, I can tell you all around us every day, there are challenges and problems. But whether we see it is another thing. If you don't see the issues around you on daily basis, then you need to check yourself whether you're actually a good researcher. One, you should also be hardworking. But I usually call hardworking smart working, because at times, if it's just mere issue of being hardworking, then the laborers, the bricklayers, the carpenters, the mechanics, maybe they are supposed to be ahead of most of us researchers. So you must be smart working, diligent, focused, devoted to your specific field of interest. And you must have patience, persistence, and you must be able to originate new questions regularly. And you must have clearly articulated goals and can create problems. Indeed, where there is no problem, you can even begin to look for problem and create it and see how you go on from there. You must be able to follow specific plan and procedure, and you must be willing to accept certain critical assumptions. You can collect information, analyze, and interpret them regularly. You know, when we talk of managing and creating problems, it's just that you want to become a troublemaker. But if you keep looking at your environment, you keep seeing issues coming up, you generate new topics, generate new ideas, and you begin to think about it. And that's why the last point there says you must be cyclical in nature. That means you must be the type of a person that once you complete a cycle, you want to begin a new cycle. That is what you must be able to do as a good researcher. So then the question we should first ask ourselves is that, do you have a presence online as a researcher? If you claim you are a researcher in the modern era, in 2020, and you are not on maybe Google Scholar, you are not on Research ID, you are not on Scopus, you are not on ResearchGate, you are not on LinkedIn, I think you need to search yourself. That means you are still living in the 1970s. You need to begin to rethink and think of how best to make your presence known. One, do you know the top 5% or the top 5 or 10 scientists in your field? If you can't say, oh, in the world, the top 5 scientists in my field of biochemistry or in the field of geophysics or in the field of science is A, B, C, D, E, then you need to think again. That means you've not really chose people you can be looking up to. Also, you need to be able to know important databases that support your work. For example, if you are a DNA researcher, there are some research databases that support DNA research. If you are a biologist and you don't know about NCBI, you don't know about PubMed, you don't know about DDJB, you don't know about EMBL, then you possibly need to have a rethink. If you happen to not know also the top journal in your field, I think you need to check yourself again. You need to hop the game. You need to move from your comfort zone and begin to think afresh. One, you also need to be able to review your CV regularly. It will be a disaster for you as a researcher not to think of reviewing your CV at least once every quarter. That will be a disservice to you. That means you don't really know your value and you are not adding value to yourself if you don't review your curriculum vitae. You also need to have OKI number, research gates, some of these things I've mentioned before, and you must have national collaborators. You have people working in your field within the country. You must be able to link with them. Also, people working internationally, link with them regularly. Attend conferences, especially those related to your field, and set targets for yourself per annum. One, with regards to research collaboration, I just show you this picture that you see here, this web that you see. This is just one of my collaboration with one scientist. And I will just explain to you the impact of linking with one scientist. There up on the top of the scale at around quadrant 12 o'clock, you will see Ariel Rivers. Rivers Ariel is my collaborator since 2006. You see my name circled in red, FASINA Folorunso. I've been working with Ariel Rivers since 2006. But in view of this collaboration with Ariel Rivers, you can see all these people you see around the cycle are all the people I've had connections with. And you can see the strength of connection with the different individuals. That is the essence of collaboration. If you map your research collaboration, you will have something like this. Everybody you've collaborated with, and it's also important in his field, will definitely give you this type of web. And it's very important. And as I said, your collaboration must both be national, local, and international. If you look at the list of co-authors I've worked with, just beside this, you can see there is a mixture of local and national and international researchers, including my former supervisors. And at the same time, you must be able to do presentation. You must be able to present your work both locally and internationally, as well as in peer review publication, as well as in popular journal. For example, down here is a newspaper article we presented, but up here is one of our science publications. So you as a scientist must be able to do that, to qualify as an effective researcher, because you must be locally relevant and internationally competitive. One, your CV is important. I mentioned it before. It helps you to refocus on your career goal and expectation. It also presents you as a professional. It exposes you and the gaps in your skill and experience, and it helps you to reinvigorate your desire for self-improvement. It also creates room for more network. If you do your review regularly, you can add new projects, you can add your new achievement, practice regular updates, be ready for an opportunity for leadership position. And I will give you an instance and keep up with trend. For example, this is a sample of the front page of my CV currently. You see, in terms of leadership, I put those graphs you see there. I talk about time management, verbal and written communication, resilience and determination, future focus, and a number of things, management skill and creativity and critical thinking. I put it there. These are necessary for leadership. Let me give you the story around this. In 2006, I was approached by FAO to submit my CV to join their team. I sent my CV to them, but then I was fully in the academia in South Africa. And then I called later in the evening and asked them, what really is the purpose of this list that is being requested? So they told me, oh, it's for some leadership position and something like that. So I told them, don't submit that one I've sent to you earlier on. I will revise this CV and send a revised version to you by the end of the day. So I revised it, bring in all my leadership capacity, bring in my achievement, mention all the leadership role I've played while in Nigeria and in other places, and I resent the CV. You know what this did? We were about 5 professors that were competing for the same position. Do you know they dropped the remaining 4 persons and just asked me, when can we chat with you and when can you start the job? That is what your CV can do for you. Your CV is a marketer for you. So if you don't prepare a good CV for yourself, you are actually doing yourself disservice. So it's important to concentrate effort on your CV. What is research? We also need to consider that question, what is research? And in terms of what is research, I would say it's a systematic investigation into the study of material and sources in order to establish facts and reach new conclusions. So that's why it's called a research. There's something searched before, you are now researching it. So there's a need to do it. And these are some of the type of research methodologies that you can use. Content analysis, ethnographic narrative type. You can use quasi-experiment, correlation analysis, survey, action, case study, ground theory. There are so many forms of research that you can do. And you need to understand your strength and know where your weakness lies. That will help you to know who are the necessary collaborators you need to work with. For example, if you are the narrative type and you need analytical skill, you need to do maybe some statistics, and you know you are good in narrative. Why won't you liaise with somebody who is good in analytics and work with him and then have a better output for your research? You can have descriptive, explanatory, theory-oriented, or evaluative research. And this all lead you to producing critical outcome at the end of the day. Research platform in Africa is, we can call it table with wobbly legs, because in Africa we have quite some challenges. Can we say that we built research capacities in Africa? I will tell you yes, we have quite a lot of research capacities in Africa. Is it at par with other parts of the world? I would say possibly no. We've not reached the level of science that exists in other parts of the world, but we have our significant strength. Are all fields built equally and at the same pace? No. Some fields have acquired more success than other fields in Nigeria and in other parts of the world. Can we say that we have an effective mentoring system in Nigeria currently? The answer is a definite no. I tell you, we can improve our mentoring skill, and you and I are all part of the people who will make this happen. You can think yourself as a middle career scientist, but you've got your power, you've got your capacity to be able to mentor others below you. And I will show you example. One, you can consider these two tables. The table below is very strong. It has very strong leg. The table above has weak, wobbly leg. And that is exactly